Today we'd like to talk about the principle of the rule of the people, which says that the state was established by and for the people. Therefore, the power is in the hands of the people, and they are the ones that make the government legitimate. This is being mainly expressed in the democratic elections, and we'd like to open with a question. What do you think about the principle of the rule of the people? I have no opinion about it because I don't believe in the rule of the people. I know from my research in the wisdom of Kabbalah, from the research of human nature, that human nature is egoistic and everyone has a nature of their own, desires of their own. And so in human society, in each and every country, you have different currents, different interest groups, and therefore I don't know, what do you mean by the rule of the people? What are the people? That they'll unite in some way, and then according to what opinion will they unite? Once according to this opinion and once according to that opinion, and you'll all the time have struggles and they'll all the time be discontent with each other. And besides that, you also have the army that also wants to be in power. We see how they influence everything, and there's also the media that also want to rule. We gave them the ability to rule the people. And so we have 4 or 5 groups, very clear evidence, strong groups, that have nothing to do with the people. The media doesn't belong to the people. The one that buys them, pays them the money, and they do the work. All the money is in the hands of the elites. Maybe the elites, they're divided between them into these and into those. So sometimes between them there are struggles. So once it's the Democrats and once it's the Republicans, like in the US. But actually it's the same. The people, they get nothing as a result. And the elites, they decide where the industry is going to be, here or in China, and altogether how the taxation is going to be and what's going to happen with the money and everything. I never saw anywhere in the world that the people come and rule. What does it mean, the rule of the people? Because they elect. So the elections, it's a fixed game. Give me a few billions for the elections, and I promise you, I'll win. Okay, so let's understand what does this really mean. Democracy, it can't work in practice. We're not talking about those primitive forms like people lived in thousands of years ago in some cave or something, where it was closer to the matter. And there too you had parents and children and the elderly and the wise and the strong and so on. You also had different forces back then. The egoistic person always wishes to realize his ego. Okay, you're saying the rule of the people is something very broad, so let's talk about the country, the state. Do you think that it's correct that the state was established for the people? No, that's incorrect. Why then? The state was established because there was the desire of a few strong people to establish a country in order to rule the people. Isn't the country supposed to serve the people? No, that's not the purpose of a country. I'm talking practically wise. Of course not. I'm talking about the principle. I don't know about principles, philosophically wise. I don't want to talk about that because those engaged in philosophy, they don't know human nature, and therefore human nature, which is nature, contradicts all these principles. So why work with all these false principles? That maybe there's a people here and they want in a nice way to build themselves and to give them the ability to rule. Rule what? What are we talking about? In order to understand what's going on, people, they have to be free of work for many years, if not for generations. They have to be free of any kind of work. They have to have lots of free time. They have to be engaged in music and art and different things like the aristocrats are engaged in, and philosophy and science, and for them to have time for all these things. This is how people develop generations after generations, and then they understand these things, and they can think about the form of the nation, of the country, about the government, how should it be built, and so on. But the masses who only know how to survive and win bread, and nothing besides that, they have no opinion regarding that. And besides that, in our times, since, suppose 150 years ago, if not more, the media has taken upon itself to take care of the people. And then those elites that simply ruled, now they rule through the media. They make all their speculations on the people through there. And the masses, they're not made to understand anything. They elect, they make their choices according to what they hear from the Madonnas on the one hand and the Angela Davises on the other hand, and that's how it works. And therefore, it's all fixed. Now we can see from Netanyahu's trial with the Yediot Ahronot newspaper what they talked about. How the newspaper tell him that if you'll do this for us, we promise to support you in the elections and you'll win for sure. See the deal two people close between them. So, are these the people? Is this the majority? Are these free elections? But it's true what they say. This is how it's done. Therefore, I'm telling you, give me money and I'll get anyone elected. It's like Caligula did in ancient Rome. He wanted for his horse to become emperor. His what? His horse. He wanted for his horse to be chosen as an emperor. And he was. Yeah? Look. We have some kind of an expectation. There is no such expectation. That's rubbish. It's nonsense. It's just in order to twist the people. Maybe that's from the point of view of those in power, but I'm talking about the majority of the people. So do what you want. We still have a kind of an expectation and a feeling that the country is ours, even though that you're saying that there are other forces that are working here and managing everything, and in practice we see that this is actually how it is. But still, we expect for things to happen this way because you are deaf. I'm telling you seriously. You're deaf because you can't understand and don't want to understand that you're all egoists. How does it create this gap between our perception and what happens in practice? Because democracy is impossible. Democracy says, I raise the freedom of choice, the freedom of speech, the freedom of management, the freedom of government. I raise this as a principle above anything else, even if it's against you. No. Everyone will say. This far. If it goes along with me, then of course I support it and everything. This is what we see in the States now. If it's Obama, yes. If it's Trump, no. But he was elected democratically. We don't care. We don't care about the elections. We don't care about anything. We want something else. This is exactly what you have. Therefore, all of these assumptions, I don't get them. It wasn't so acute in previous years. True, and I'll explain why. Because in previous years, We did not come to the final egoistic realization. We did not reach the stage of the general crisis in family life, in a person's attitude towards life. What am I living for? Depression, general despair, vast unemployment, a crisis in the financial system like what happened, a crisis in the relations between the countries in Europe, and so on and so forth. Between parents and children, the entire situation, everything that a person is engaged in and is engaged in with others is in crisis. And so previously it wasn't that conspicuous. It was still ripening. But in the past 30, 40 years, it has ripened with the help of liberalism that has now reached its end.